All right, everybody, can you hear me? Let's do that one more time, a little louder. Woo! Okay. Hey, has anybody ever been to the Arctic? Congratulations, you've arrived!
Lived above the Arctic Circle for 8 years.
All right, I'm Mary Hollow. I am your MC today, and I am so proud to have been the MC of the last 4 public land rallies. I see a lot of familiar faces out there today. The biggest thing I want to say is thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. I'm the executive director of a regional land trust, one of 5 here in Montana. For 27 years, Prickly Pear Land Trust, with a lot of help from people here in the crowd today, has protected and built the public land estate that forever will drape the backdrop of this Capitol Dome in the state of Montana. I am a mom. I am a wife. My husband, who's a teacher, ran up from Helena High here today somewhere. I am a lifelong Montanan. And I really just want to give you a warm welcome. We are all a Montana family. We are in this together. I want to thank all of the organizations who helped make this rally possible today for the strong message that it sends inside this Capitol on public lands. All right, you ready to get a little rowdy?
Yeah!
Contribute $7,100,000,000 jobs to Montana's economy every single year.
Yeah.
The outdoor industry is our biggest one, next to agriculture, which is our second. Montana's Constitution states that we all have a right to a clean and healthful environment. Our Constitution supports our 2 largest economies in this state. Let me repeat that. What we're doing here today and what we are here to defend today supports our 2 largest economies in this state. There are bills in this legislature, the 68th legislature, that seek to take that away. Okay, we're going to get a little loud, shake it up a little bit. I'm going to state something and I want you to respond with, is our right. I want you to be so loud that you shake the windows in this building behind me, because there happen to be some people in here who need to hear that message.
Let's go in and talk to them.
Okay. Oh, there will be an opportunity for that later, Joe. All right. Clean water
Is our right!
Public lands
Is our right!
Clean air
Is our right!
Outdoor experiences with our children
Is our right!
Abundant wildlife
Is our right!
So the same people who led the effort to transfer and sell Montana's public lands, do you remember that?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You fought back, you made your voices heard, you showed up, and they retreated. But some of them only retreated to the corners of this Capitol. They are still here. We are nearly halfway through this legislative session, and there have been more bad ideas than I care to admit. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up in this freezing cold weather, and for speaking out for public lands and our Montana constitutional rights.
It's our right! 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 It's our right!
You're damn right it is.
You're damn right!
have an incredible speaker lineup here today. We're going to kick it off with Mariah. She's a Blackfeet member. She grew up in the north on the backbone of the world. She founded Indigi Kitchen to reconnect Native foods in our communities. And I am so honored to have Mariah, a member of the Blackfeet tribe, here with us today.
Okay, hello everybody.
Hello!
As a Blackfeet woman, I know that the concept of public lands are far older than the state of Montana itself. And I know it's just like Montana to turn out in these numbers, even in these temperatures. Give yourselves a huge round of applause for that. You know, Native people have lived in these mountains, on these prairies, in these woods for thousands of years. We know that wilderness does not mean the exclusion of people. Wilderness includes humans. It includes us. It includes our hunters, our fishermen, our gatherers, people gathering wood to keep their families warm. All of that is part of wild Montana. And the writers of the Montana Constitution knew this. That's why we have the right that's guaranteed in those words to a clean and healthful environment, not just for ourselves, but for the future. You know that there's an Indigenous proverb that talks about thinking 7 generations in the future, right? Yeah. That's what the Montana Constitution aimed to do, and we are not going to let them take that away. It's starting to snow, so I promise I'm going to stop this soon. We know that as Native people, as Montanans, it is not just our right to take care of these lands, but we know that these lands are going to take care of us. Right. This is our gift to our home, and we're going to fight for it. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming out today. Building.
All right, Mariah, thank you so much. Our next speaker is a good friend of mine. He's been my friend for a long time. Cole grew up on an extended family ranch that was founded in 1882 near Helmville, Montana. Held several leadership roles in various organizations and recently founded the Old Salt Co-op, a meat business in downtown Helena. Go grab a burger when you're done. He resides in Helena with his wife Eileen and their 2 boys, and we're super honored to have you here today, Cole.
Thanks, Mary, and thanks everybody for being out here. It's my honor to be with you. Give yourselves all a big hand. I'm inspired to be with you. Support our wildlife. Growing up on the family's ranch, Dad's thoughts on land ownership, I remember, were basically that the land owns us. Public or private, the land owns us. It's our job to respect it, to leave it better, and to share it. I don't want to give up on the natural world and go eat mush with Elon Musk on his spaceship. I want to eat meat, for God's sake. I want to raise my kids in a beautiful and wild Montana. And I think you guys want to do the same. My vision for the future is one of teeming streams and sandhill cranes in a cow pasture and pronghorn migrations and red-blooded Montanans living within the natural world. I've learned not to see that much difference between public and private. At the end of the day, it's all the creators, one fabric. And rights are important, and even more important in my mind than rights is our duty to leave this landscape better. And so thank God. Thank God a clean and healthful environment is enshrined right where those words are in our Constitution.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
And it's our right, and it's our responsibility, and it's our duty. And we face serious questions. For example, do we face a development future that looks like the Denver metro area? No. Do we face a water future that looks like the Colorado River Basin?
No.
We have a great deal of work to do right out in front of us. And so why at this time would we be looking to cut $30 million from a Habitat Montana program? An investment in our Montana landscape is going to be an investment in business, an investment for our children in the future of their landscape. We have all the resources we need. We've got the tools. We've got the established infrastructure. And I'll leave you with a personal note, which is that I think one of the things we may be able to supercharge a bit more than we have historically is the partnerships between our two biggest industries, conservation and agriculture. I believe that there is massive undiscovered common ground there. They're natural allies. And on the one hand, Wendell Berry, one of my heroes, says, eating is an agricultural act. We're all eaters, and so we all have an interest in agriculture.
Yeah.
And if we want to see the kind of agriculture that protects and improves the Montana landscape thrive, then we're going to have to eat that way. And we're all breathers of air, we're all drinkers of Montana's waters, and we're all lovers of this beautiful wide open landscape. And so we all have an interest in conservation as well. And so I'll leave you with the hope that we can discover new and more powerful ways to work together as two sectors. And basically, just thank you for letting me speak with you. To be here with you is an honor. Land is kin, let's leave it better.
I'm going to mess with the volume a little bit. Somebody said you can't hear in the back. Is that right? All right. How is that? Is that any better? A little bit more, maybe? How's that? Is that better? Can you hear me in the back? Give me a big hell yeah! Okay. Okay. Sorry about that if anybody couldn't hear. Our next speaker is, I just have to say, there is no way I would have had the courage to do what she's about to do, and I'm so proud of Hannah for being here today. Hannah was born and raised in Helena. She grew up in the outdoors and has always been a proud public land supporter. Currently, she works as an educator in the Helena Public School District. She's headed to UM in the fall. Go Grizz. And she has two incredible parents who are also incredible public land supporters who are here today. So thank you so much, Hannah. It's awesome to have you here.
I'm honored to be here today. Thank you so much for being here. When I was a kid, my mom used to hike in the South Hills of Helena with me on her back, our two dogs ahead of her, leading the way. Some of my earliest memories include Montana's sunshine illuminating the path ahead, my mom's voice soothing me, my little hands grasping for pine needles and wildflowers. My dad and I have sat around endless campfires at Vigilante Campground. It was there where I tentatively pedaled my bike, only to crash dash into the bushes at the edge of our campsite. It was there where I took my senior pictures, smiling as I tried to prepare myself for college in a place where I couldn't see the mountains. It was there where my mom and I sang acoustic covers with the help of my grandpa's old guitar, our voices mixing with the flow of the creek and the settling of the mountain air. In my 19 years of life, the most monumental memories, the most cherished little moments have occurred under this beautiful big sky. Montana's public lands have raised me. I've sobbed through breakups and heartaches in the hidden nooks of Mount Helena's foothills. I've stuck my head out the window and laughed with my friends on the drive to Park Lake, wheels kicking up dust and tall pines glowing golden green in the afternoon sun. I've jumped into the freezing cold waters of the Dearborn River with my dad after sweating and swearing my way through one of my first backpacking adventures, exhausted and accomplished and at ease within the vast landscape of the Scapegoat Wilderness. I've hidden behind my dad and held back a scream moments after rounding a corner of a trail deep in the Blackfoot Meadows just to see a mama moose and her baby crossing the path on their way to the water. I've stood on the balcony of Granite Park Chalet in Glacier National Park, overlooking mountains, lakes, and trails, and I've thought about what it means to grow up, to heal, to be alive. I've watched as tiny trees bloom in the blackened soil left behind by a forest fire near the gates of the mountains, and I've come to realize that some of the most beautiful experiences occur just moments after darkness. I'm an educator, and each Monday morning my elementary schoolers come to me with stories of weekends spent hunting, or skiing, or walking their dogs, sledding or ice skating or snowmobiling. I watch as the lands that lifted me up, shook me off, and pushed me forward do the same to the next generation. I make a promise each day to do everything I can to protect and teach my kids, to create a world that is supportive and gentle. Why I am here today, to ensure that the magic of these lands lives long enough to save another generation. tradition, and harmony. I am proud to be a Montanan. That pride stems in large part from the existence of our public lands. If you share my pride, let it be shown in the way you vote, in the way you act, in the way you treat the land around you. If you have stories like mine, do the work each day to ensure that similar stories continue to be told by generations to come. Look around you. We are fortunate beyond words to get to experience the magical gifts of this environment. I will not take that fortune for granted, not for a single second. Which is why I stand here today, encouraging all of my fellow Montanans to appreciate what brings us together and to value it more than what tears us apart.
Okay, so how proud are we to have advocates like Hannah from our public schools standing up for our public Hannah, we'd like you to think about running for office someday. Okay, our final speaker here today, Ryan Callahan. Ryan is with Meat Eater. He's the conservation director. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Meat Eater, they have some of the most watched and listened to conservation material online, millions of dedicated viewers. Thank you to Ryan for making what is now his second trip to Helena this week. I had the honor in being with him on Tuesday when we pushed back against an anti-conservation measure earlier in the week here. So thank you, Ryan, for using your voice in the various ways that you do, and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you. This is my state capital in my state, my home state. It's amazing. Thank you, everyone, for being out here and representing your piece of Montana. Montana's always been a small place, so I can recognize faces from Shelby and Malta, Miles City, Missoula, you know, the hippie towns that are turning conservative and the conservative towns that are turning hippies. Cowboy bars that are now wine bars. There's a lot of change happening in the state. And like Mary said earlier, there's a lot of bad ideas that get floated around. And you know what? I got plenty of bad ideas too. Okay? But it's our job as Montanans, as voters, to stand up and say, hey, that one is not going to become a new regulation or a new rule change or an amendment to what was previously a good idea. That's our job. That's our responsibility. And I know there's a lot of hunters and anglers out here. Those are responsibility activities. If you're in agriculture, there's a lot of responsibility. So why do we kind of take the easy way out and vilify people that we didn't vote for? That's just, we can roll up our sleeves and work in rooms where people don't want us to talk and build these bridges, and pretty soon we can work on those bad ideas and turn them into good ideas and regulations and amendments that we do want. This state, when we go out and vote and the people that we don't want in office end up in office, it's important to remember that probably our neighbor did vote for it. Okay, and they're still our neighbors, and that's where a great place for that work to start is right next door. We got to see what they're thinking in order to inform our opinions and get back here and rally for the things that we want, things that we hold dear. Okay, I grew up. I think so. I grew up on the edge of the rattlesnake wilderness, right? I grew up in the heart of the Bob Marshall. both on the southern end and that, chunk against Glacier National Park and Highway 2. Got charged by a big grizzly bear up there one time. Formative places that have made me go out and stand in places like this. They provided opportunities that I never ever would have had, and all I wanted to do was be outside. That's it. And all I can do, as I struggle with calling myself an adult, is try to make sure that those places are there for other people like me who just want to be outside. Because I know they will give back to those people too. So, I love everything that I heard here today. Open spaces, agriculture, wildlife, easements. Remember, when you leave here, the big wins, okay? We've had some great ones this year. Big Snowy's Wildlife Management Area, right? That's a big one. That's a big one. It was paid for with Habitat Montana dollars in part. There's currently 3 different bills looking to dismantle Habitat Montana, which is an amazing tool in our toolbox.
Throw the bums out.
And the best way to start the conversation, as to say vote no, is to say, hey, thank you so much for something good. You're may have to do some research with some of these folks. But I promise you, they voted yay for something that you can get in line with and start there. A big thank you goes a long way. Right? Because if they don't hear thank you for the Big Snowy WMA or something similar, they may just think that you're never going to be happy. And it's okay to say thank you for this, and by the way, we want more. Because the state is a-growing, we see it all the time. We just want it to grow smart. Montana's a boom and bust economy, it always has been. We need to start planning for the long term, and that starts with all of you. The only thing I can disagree with Mariah on is she said Montana's a great state. It is the best state. And that's because of everybody who's willing to come out here in -4 temperatures. You probably feel like I do, and you're way more comfortable out here wearing this type of clothing than in there wearing a sport coat. Maybe one of these days we'll bring all of those guys out here. Remember, your voice matters. Say thank you. Write letters. Phone calls. Testify. You can show up. You can do it. It's not scary. Tell them where you make your money. Tell them where you like to spend it and how. And tell them what you want to see more of. Thank you all very much. I'm so proud to be here with all of you.
Okay, as Ryan and everybody else has said, thank you so much for coming out today. Thank you for getting your voices heard. Call your legislators, get to know them, follow their votes. Thank you for the votes on public lands and waters, and condone bad votes. Talk about the issues with friends and family. Find a way to lead. Find a way to be a leader on these issues. Run for office. Any office, and champion public lands issues. Public service is the backbone of our strength and our collective efforts on public land issues. Okay, 2 more minor things, and then we'll round it out with a little bit of movement. Yard signs. People are walking around with yard signs. Please take one. They say protect Montana's Constitution. Please start one of those yard signs at your home if you can, and grab one before you leave. Second order of business, in the fan window up here, there are some faces in it. We can wave to them and say hi. There is a table up there with more specific information on the bills that we are fighting. As you heard today, there are several, 3 I think, that attack funds on Habitat Montana, and as Ryan pointed out, find something that legislator did well, thank him for it, and then tell him what you'd like him to do on this bill. Okay, we're going to go back to the way we started. You know the drill.
It's all right. 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 It's all right.
What a fight!
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Water!
It's all right. 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 It's all right.
All right, thank you everybody so much for coming out today. Thank you for protecting public lands. Thank you for speaking up on Montana's Constitution. And thank you for doing all that you do to lead on these issues. Thank you. Go Green!